Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. This is my weekly compendium of case reports between the 9th to the 15th of March, 2021. Case files number 73 to 79. Case file number 73, written by user Badger Yellow. A déjà vu at play, but not all participants followed the script. This particular day, my sister had already had a déjà vu moment earlier, in the morning, but the second time that day, it got rather creepy. The two of us drove over to visit our grandmother and brought her some food. I was at the kitchen sink. My grandma and sister were chatting to each other at the other end of the kitchen. My sister stops mid-sentence and goes, "Oh." I immediately understood and think, again, geez, that's the second déjà vu for you today. I have a strong sense to say this out loud, but I actively stopped myself from speaking as to not interrupt my grandma, who was still chatting away. A little later, my sister comes up to me and says, with humor, "Why didn't you say it?" "Say what?" She said that in her déjà vu, I had spoken, and she repeated to me the exact words I had previously thought, but didn't say out loud. I told her this, and said that I had decided not to say anything at the last minute. We both thought this was extremely weird, and she commented on how it was like I actively decided not to follow the script of her déjà vu. Case notes, file number 73. So then, in a nutshell, your sister saw the events play out and then return to normal. This is like the Nicolas Cage movie Next, although without the ability to control it. All I can say to that is cool. Hopefully she thinks so too. I know some people can be creeped out by this ability, or phenomena. The author responded to my brief comment saying, "Yes, she tells me she gets déjà vu like a lot. Sometimes people would do the things she saw in her déjà vu, and sometimes they wouldn't. I don't think she was expecting me to participate, I guess would be the word. But for me, in my point of view of the event, it was kind of creepy." Case file number 74, written by user Perma Fried Rice. They moved into a new apartment. They weren't alone. About 3 years ago, my mom and I were living in a one-bedroom apartment. We didn't have any money, and it was the only place we could afford. It was a super old Victorian home in Tacoma, Washington, that had been sectioned off into 4 different little apartments. Since I was a kid, I've always been super sensitive to energy. Whether it's people or a place, if there's some type of negativity, I can sense it. When we first moved in there, I felt weird. I wouldn't say that I felt anything evil there, but the place felt off. A couple months in, I went to spend the night at my boyfriend's place, which wasn't something I did often. About 9:30, I got a call from my mom. Mind you, at the time, she was 63. I picked up and could immediately tell she was upset. She asked me if I was with my boyfriend and if I was alright. I told her yes, I'm perfectly fine. She then explained to me that she'd gone to lay down to go to sleep when she heard my voice yell her name. At first, I doubted if she just had a bad dream. But she was sure she hadn't even been laying down for more than a minute, still wide awake, and then it was like I was right in the doorway yelling, "Mama!" We both tried to forget about it, but my mom was convinced something was there in our apartment that was trying to scare her. A week later, she'd purchased some Palo Santos to try cleansing the apartment. She again did this while I was out, but she called me scared, begging me to come home. When I got back, she explained she'd done the usual, starting from the front door, going through the living room to the bed and bath, then the kitchen, working her way front to back. She said as she came to walk back into the living room, where we had this little table and chairs, her chair was pulled out from the table, tilted back, balancing on its back legs. I tried reassuring her, telling her we would start to look for a new place, but it wasn't going to happen fast enough because of our money problems. About a month after that, I was on the couch while she was cutting vegetables for dinner, and I heard her scream. I ran into the kitchen, and she said she had placed the knife down on the cutting board, turned around to the sink to grab another vegetable, and when she turned back, the knife was gone. She said she turned back to the sink and was checking the counters, but it wasn't there. So she opened up the drawer to get another knife, and when she turned back to the cutting board, it was there again. We left the next day to stay with a friend for a while, but this was the most scared I'd ever seen my mom. I know it wasn't because she was losing it or just getting old. She's still very lucid. I still believe if we had stayed there, something bad would have happened to her. Case notes, file number 74. I'm typically more on the optimist side when it comes to ghosts, spirits, and so forth. But the fact that this entity, whatever it was, took the knife for a brief moment, to me that does signify that there was intent to harm your mother, or at least scare her. Not necessarily out of pure malice though, more like a warning, defending against an invader type mindset. That's the vibe I get. Maybe that old Victorian place, the apartment you were occupying, was very important to whatever was still there. Case file number 75. Written by user BZN again. Slept late. Found a pillow in the spare room. Someone was there, his wife, but it couldn't be. So I'm a snorer. It drives my wife crazy because she's a light sleeper. She will often move to the guest bedroom in the middle of the night. I also have a bad habit of falling asleep on the couch if we're watching TV late, and she will usually turn off the TV and head to bed before me, letting me sleep on the couch. I'll usually wake up around 1 or 2 a.m. and sleepily head to bed. One night a few months ago, we were watching TV downstairs, and I had grabbed a pillow from our bed. The couch pillows aren't particularly comfortable. I drifted off and woke up alone, in the dark with the TV off a little after 2 a.m. When I got upstairs, I crawled into bed next to my wife, who rolled over as I pulled back the covers on my side. But I realized my pillow was still downstairs on the couch. Instead of going back downstairs, I decided to get one from the guest bedroom. It was dark, but I knew my way around and felt my way to get a pillow. When I yanked it off the bed, I heard a, "Hey." And there was my wife with her earplugs in, the ones she often wore because of my snoring. But she was also in our bed seconds earlier. I was in shock and stood there to let my eyes adjust, and sure enough, she was there looking up at me with an annoyed, sleepy face. I dropped the pillow and walked back to our bedroom, and there she was, again, curled up and sleeping. Utterly confused and freaking out a little, I went back to the guest bedroom, and there was nobody there. I wonder now if I were half asleep or something, imagining it. I have no explanation, and now whenever I go upstairs late, if I fall asleep on the couch, I always have this sense of dread and always check the guest bedroom before going to bed. It's never happened since. Case notes, file number 75. I read in the comments below that you were too distraught, discombobulated might be the perfect word, to check if the bed was still warm. So fair enough on that. No doubt I'd have been too. Do you recall if the bedroom door was open or closed when you went to get the pillow from the spare room? Anything else out of the ordinary that you saw? Your wife was still asleep in the other room, so she must not have heard whatever entity was in your spare room's bed. That's kinda wild. Maybe a spirit, maybe a trickster, or maybe could have been your wife's doppelganger too. The author responded to my comment, saying, "The door was open, but it's always open. There was nothing else out of the ordinary. I'm assuming my wife in the master bedroom didn't hear the 'hey', and despite my exclamation point in writing, it wasn't exclaimed by her that loudly." Case file number 76, written by user Haley's Comment 00, sightings, fleeting, and even a shared dream of the little girl who isn't. My husband and I just bought a 5-bed house and moved in 2 days ago. Everything was fine, great even. We were excited about the extra room. We were choosing which room could be a nursery, as I'm pregnant, and we're just dumping our boxes around, ordering takeout, etc. Just having fun in our new home. I would say the first thing I noticed was when I was laying on our bed moving my pregnancy pillow around and playing some stupid game on my phone. It sounded like whispers coming from the bathroom across the room to me. We have mirrored wardrobes, so I looked into that and into the open door and didn't see anything. Weird. Must just be me adjusting and imagining things. It didn't happen again and I brushed it off. Foods arrived. We were nestled down on the sofa with the other boxes ready to go for tomorrow, when I, being the fatty, went to get another plate. I got up, walked into the kitchen, and I swear I saw something by the sink standing and facing the window and looking outside. I think it looked very tall and just black. I turned on the light and nothing was there. Okay, I'm officially crazy right now. I had a dream that night of a little girl wanting me to chase her to play throughout the house. I was thinking this could be our future child, as we don't know what the gender of the baby is yet. She looked very cute, dark brown pigtails and a small pink little dress. I also thought this could be our child, as it had the same color hair as we do, and my husband's striking green eyes. She stopped outside the nursery room and ran in with a giggle. I opened the door and couldn't find her anywhere. In my dream, something big, black, and I remember it had claws too. Well, it jumped out at me with a screech, and then I woke up. I woke up feeling like I needed to throw up. In the morning, I told my husband the dream and laughed it off like, "Oh my god, look how crazy this pregnancy is making me," sort of way. He told me he had a dream of a little girl too. He described her every detail right down to the frilly socks and shoes she was wearing. He said in his dream he was using the family bathroom as I was in ours. He walked to come to ask me if I needed anything, and he saw her standing in the nursery room just glaring at him. He said he went to ask her who she is, why she's in our house, and where her parents were. Then she disappeared. He then followed it with another dream. His mom died 2 years ago and was in this dream. She was telling him to be careful and that the girl isn't a girl at all, rather something pretending to be, and that we should be careful. Case notes, file number 76. The detail that you both had a similar dream involving the same figure, that's what brings this all together. The other stuff could be explained away via nerves or lack of good sleep. Being in a new place and environment can play tricks on the mind, but you both had a dream relating to it. I wonder why this entity is appearing to both of you in this way. Maybe it's your future daughter's spirit trying to warn you of something. Or it's an entity playing with your emotions, like your deceased mother-in-law's warning to your husband was saying, that it's not your daughter. Just be careful. Case file number 77, written by user Generic Shite 1337. Morning routine completed, coffee in hand. Wait a second, where did the sun go? This is a couple years ago. At the time, I typically woke up for work around 7 a.m. Just an average night without anything out of the norm. I set my alarm on my phone for the standard wake-up time and went to sleep. Something to note, I always set my phone about 20 feet away, so it forces me to get out of bed and not just hit the snooze button over and over. Anyway, my alarm goes off and I get out of bed to shut it off. I proceed downstairs to the kitchen and get a pot of coffee going. I take a look outside. It's a nice sunny morning out, and I see people driving down the road, probably heading to work. I take the morning pee and head back to the kitchen to prepare my cup of coffee. Honey and cinnamon in the coffee, by the way. It's delicious. Unfortunately, I have a nasty habit of smoking. Nothing goes better with a nice hot cup of coffee than a cigarette. So I go outside and partake, scrolling over the news and whatnot on my phone. I finish with my morning ritual, then proceed to grab a shower. After the shower, I head back to the kitchen and pour another cup of coffee. Next, I go back upstairs to my room to get dressed for work. When I get back upstairs, I notice that I don't see the sunlight coming through the window. I think, well, that's odd, and walk over to get a closer look. I look out of the window and it's no longer morning, but it's night. I pause and think, what the heck is going on here? So I take a look at my phone and the time says 2:35 in the morning. At this point, I am in complete and utter confusion. I start to wonder if I dreamed everything I just did. Then it dawns on me. I still have the hot cup of coffee in my hand. I go back downstairs to check the coffee pot. It should still be on and have hot coffee in it. The coffee pot is empty and cold. I said to hell with trying to figure this out and just went back to bed. Woke up again around 7 and nothing else irregular happened. Pretty sure I traveled back in time about 6 hours or so. I'm curious to what y'all think. A portal, a glitch? I really have no clue to this day. Case notes, file number 77. This may sound like a strange question, but did you feel tired at all when you realized it was 2:35 a.m.? You did head back to sleep, so I am assuming the answer is yes. My thinking here is, if this was time travel, you probably wouldn't have been tired enough to head back to bed a second time, another 4 hours and 25 minutes. That's a lot of extra sleep. It could be you were just very tired, and indeed it was time travel and you just decided to go back to bed again, because you were just that tired. In which case, hey, you got to sleep in. That's pretty cool. But if not, if you were well rested, it makes me wonder if this could be related to those glitches where people are frozen out of time and they appear later. Only in this case it's backwards. You appeared backward in time. Very curious. What do you think? Case file number 78. Written by user The Crusty Pancake. A voice beyond a voice, subconscious or an angel, whatever it was, saved their life. This happened to me about 2 months ago, but I still remember it very clearly. To start, I put the unidentified flare, though 2 people I told this to think it's some kind of angel or something looking out for me. 2 months ago, I was driving alone to pick up groceries. The drive there is usually busy, with winding roads and a few blind turns. It's about a 15-minute drive to the store we like to go to. Halfway there, I was listening to loud music, and I started to speed up a little bit. For some reason, I unconsciously speed up when a loud or intense song plays. It also happened to be one of the blind turns. Idiot me, I know. The road was clear as much as I could see, but something audibly told me to slow down. Before you ask, no, it wasn't the song. The song was in one of those instrumental-only parts, and I know the song by heart, and no one speaks there. The whisper didn't sound like my voice in my head. It didn't sound male nor female, and it sounded like it came from behind me to the right. I wasn't scared when I heard it, but I listened and slowed down. If I didn't, I completely believe I would have been in a car crash, since there was a stopped dark car hiding around the turn that I wouldn't have seen very well, or at least soon enough. After that, you better believe I said WTF out loud. But I was more shocked and in disbelief rather than scared. Like, did that just happen? I still wonder what or who it was that possibly saved my life or someone else's. I've had no family close to me die, so I don't believe it was any deceased family member. Unless great-grandparents still care to look out for me, even though I've never even met them or met them when I was a baby. Or if it was an angel. Side note, I was also shocked because I thought, did this happen to me? My grandmother and sister have both had paranormal experiences, but they were long before I was born. They always interested me so much, and though this may be seen as a small experience, I like to believe that at least I experienced something. Does anyone have any similar experiences or guesses as to what it might or who it might have been? Or if I'm just going crazy? Case notes, file number 78. When you say that the voice you heard was neither male nor female, could you describe that further? As in, it was neither high nor low-pitched, perhaps even very monotone. I've had voices that sound like nothing in a sense, yet I still hear it. It never told me anything of note, just thought it was random spurts from my subconscious, not a guardian angel event. But then again, I was never saved from a car crash that otherwise would have happened. That would change one's perspective, no doubt. The author responded to my comment, saying, like the nothing you described, It had tone, like slight emotion, like a calm yet urgent tone. But it was just a simple voice. It wasn't high or low. It's really hard to explain, but it was audible. Case file number 79, written by user Various Preference 0. As death approaches, a man is witnessed, unseen by anyone else. I work in IT, and so I'm constantly being pressed into action by friends and family to sort out any technology-related issues. About 10 years ago, I was visiting my parents and they mentioned that a friend of theirs was seriously ill. He had developed a motor neuron disease. Over a few months he had become bedridden and unable to function. My mother mentioned that their friends relied heavily on their computers to communicate with people, sort out appointments and medication, and other groceries as they obviously could not leave the house. The computer had developed some problem and they asked if I wouldn't mind having a look at it. My dad and I went over to see them, and the man's condition was as it was described to me. He was in a bed in an alcove in the living room, in front of the TV. He had trouble speaking, though he could make himself understood, it just took him longer. I decided to reinstall the OS on their PC, and did so while my dad chatted to him and his wife about everything and nothing. I finished the IT task, but I needed a password to make sure they could get into their email. The lady didn't know, but the man was eventually able to communicate it to me, and it worked. They were very grateful. As we were about to leave, we were stood at the side of the bed, level with the man's head. He struggled to say something. We listened closely, eventually working out what he was saying. "Who's at the end of the bed? The man in black." His wife assured him that there was only us there. I was thoroughly creeped out though, but we just said our goodbyes and left at about 6 p.m., heading back to my parents' house. Later that night, around 10:30 p.m., the phone rang, and when my mother answered it, I knew instantly what it was. Just a gut feeling. It was the wife ringing my mother to say the man had died within the last hour. Case notes, file number 79. So did your parents' friend describe the man in any greater detail? A man in black, probably referring to what people see as a reaper, but there actually aren't that many cases described, not that I've read, at least here. It would be harder to capture, of course, since they'd be secondary retellings from loved ones, not from the person being visited, because they are about to be taken onward, I guess you could say. I do know one thing, that sense of dread, people on their deathbed, it's actually a medical condition, the sense of dread. But maybe indeed they see a man waiting to shepherd them onward, to another plane of existence. Maybe even crossing over between universes. I wonder how quantum immortality plays into this. Maybe quantum immortality actually depends on a shepherd, although if there's no other bodies at all, in any other universe because of natural aging, eventually we're all gonna die in every single universe, I guess, unless there's a cure for aging, which would be great. But yeah, if there's no other bodies, then what happens to our consciousness? Is there an afterlife beyond that? Maybe. The author responded briefly to my comment, saying, "No more details to add." That question was pretty much how it ended. I've read that sense of impending doom is an actual symptom that doctors are taught to pay attention to. Kinda scary, isn't it? If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and feel free to watch more on my channel. I have a lot more content.